Right, so we have some phone numbers that we can assign to users in this particular tenant so they can be able to make and receive PSTN calls. So in doing that, you go to the Teams Admin Center, admin.teams.microsoft.com, and then you go to voice phone numbers. These are our numbers. Right, so let me just show you this real quick. You can release these numbers. Let's say you have 3 users, as in our case, but then you ordered more numbers than you actually need, so you want to release some of the numbers. You are allowed to do that, so all you need to do is just to select the number and then you can release. But then if you release any of these numbers, you will not be able to get the numbers back. Not even Microsoft can get the numbers for you, because the numbers will go back to the number pool. So if you want to release any phone number within your tenants, you must be very careful with it. This is what we're talking about. Not even Microsoft can get these numbers for you. Let's just release this one so you see. We actually have 3 users, 1, 2, 3. So we can release at least 1 or 2. You select the number, go to release, and then you enter this code. This is a confirmation that you are aware of what you are doing. 86220. So we are proceeding, and that's all. The number will be released. So as you can see, the number has been released. Now we have 4 numbers instead of the 5 that we had earlier. We are going to assign the phone number now. We have 3 users, okay? So I'm just going to assign just one number to a user through the Teams admin interface, and I'll do the rest through PowerShell. So you select the number and then you click edit. That will bring you to this page. So you have number usage, and you can just glance through. Now the interesting thing is that if you have about 100 users within your tenant and it's only 10 that are licensed for business voice, if you have 20 of those 100 users bearing almost the same name, if you start searching their name, all of the 20 users will not populate. Only the users that are licensed for business voice will populate here. Okay, and even that, if you have assigned a phone number to a user already, that user will not populate when you are searching for the user. So over here, we have about almost 6 test users. Out of the 6 test users, we have licensed only 2 of them. That is test user 1 and test user 2. So we are just going back to the Teams Admin Center, and then let's say test user. So even though we have about 6 different test users, you notice that it's only 2 that will populate, as you can see. Okay, so we just want to assign the number to this very user, test user number 1. Now the next is for you to select an emergency location. You remember we indicated earlier that every phone number is supposed to be tied to a particular emergency location. So this is where you need to do that. This is the primary reason we first created emergency address, because it's supposed to be tied to a particular phone number, or the other way around. In searching for the emergency address, you can do that in 3 ways. You can either search by city, description, or place. So by city, my city name is Charleston. Yeah, so here we go. So by Charleston, this is what we have. Okay, so I can also search by description. The description here is the name we gave to the emergency address. You remember we named it main office-HQ. So we're just going to search for that and see what will happen. Yeah, this is what is happening. And we also said that within the same address, you can create multiple places. So we created one place within the address, and that was first floor. So we can just search for first floor over here as well. Great. So here we go. So but I want to assign this to a main address. When this is done, the user will receive an email containing the phone number that has been assigned to him. So here we are good. I'll just go ahead and hit apply. The number has been assigned now. So like I was saying, we can just run very fast with some of these, but then I want you to really understand what we are doing. That is the more reason why we are going step by step. So we are then assigning the number to the test user. This very number has been assigned. so you can just cross check to be sure. So as you can see, user assigned. So there is another way through which you can check via the Teams Admin Center to be sure that the user has indeed been assigned a phone number. And to do that, you go to users, manage users. Here we go, test user. The user has been assigned a phone number. Now let's try doing something else for you to see what I was talking about earlier, that if the user has been assigned a phone number already, when you try searching the user will not populate. Let's check that by going phone numbers again, and then let's say we want to assign this number. Select the number, go to edit, and let's see what happens. Right, so let's say test user. So here we go, test user. It's only that very user. So even though we have 2 test users that have been licensed for business voice, it's only one that is populating here. That is test user 2. The reason is because test user 1 has already been assigned a phone number. So there is no way that user will populate here again. Right. So now let's check how we can do that via PowerShell as well. We want to assign the second number to the test user 2. You just go ahead and open PowerShell and then connect to PowerShell. Right. So $credential. So I'm just going to pause this very quick here. So $credential. Let's see. Space credential. Right. So we just enter our admin username, and then you can now connect. So connect Microsoft Teams. Credential. Okay, so we've been able to connect to PowerShell successfully. So now let's assign the number, and to assign the number you use the following command. Set CS online, voice user identity. We want to assign it to this very number, telephone number. Let's get our telephone number. So this is the number we want to assign to the user. So set CS online, voice user, space dash identity, the user ID, and then telephone number, blah blah blah. So you just run this command, and the number will be assigned to the user. So I'll just go ahead and hit enter, and let's see what happens. Okay. But then unfortunately we are getting error. Why are we getting error? This is what the error message is saying. It says an emergency location is required for a user with the location US. Right. So in the US it is mandatory that you have an emergency location, as we indicated earlier. Okay. So that is why we are getting error here. So we are just going to add the location ID, and so let's say location ID. So I'll just go back to the Teams Admin Center, location, emergency address, and we just copy the location ID from there. So this is our emergency address. Let's get the location ID. So this is the location ID. So you just go ahead and copy this, and then go back to PowerShell. You just paste this and run it. This should be successful. And the PowerShell is telling us that we have assigned the number to this particular user. So let's check if indeed that is same here as well. So you go to users, manage users, and then you just right. So here we go. Test user 2 has been assigned the telephone number. Okay, right. So we want to assign the last telephone number to this particular user, which is main admin. Okay, main admin. So we are just going to go ahead and copy this, and let's go back to PowerShell. Right. So we want to assign this again. So remember the command, let's set that CS online voice user space identity, the user ID dash telephone number, the phone number, and then the location ID. The location ID is the location ID and the emergency address you have created. Okay, so that one, you go back to the Teams Admin Center and you go to locations, you open your emergency address, just open this and you can copy the location ID from here. Right, so now let's go ahead and then assign the telephone number. Our location ID is going to be same, so we are just going to change the phone number as well as the user ID. So I'll just erase this. Right, so then it's left with the phone number. Let's copy the phone number as well. So you go to voice phone numbers, and this is the very number we want to assign to the user. Right, so I'll just go ahead and replace this. So here we are good to go. That should assign the phone number to this particular user as well. We just go ahead and hit enter. This should assign this particular phone number to this user. Right. As you can see, this as well is successful.